Daniel's journey begins in a small town where he learns the craft of shoemaking from his grandfather. The old man sees greatness in him, but Daniel doesn't yet grasp what it truly means to be successful. His grandfather teaches him patience and precision, and soon, Daniel can craft shoes that rival those of seasoned artisans. Yet, while he excels at his craft, he lacks vision beyond shoemaking. As Daniel grows older, he starts selling his shoes. However, despite their quality, they don't sell as well as he expects. He charges too little, thinking low prices will attract more customers, but he barely makes enough to survive. His grandfather warns him about undervaluing his work, but Daniel believes that skill alone will bring wealth. He refuses to listen, convinced that people will eventually recognize his talent and reward him accordingly. One day, a wealthy businessman visits Daniel's small shop. He admires the craftsmanship and offers to invest in Daniel's work, suggesting he open a bigger store in the city. Daniel, however, refuses. He distrusts the businessman, believing that people should succeed on their own without relying on others. His grandfather shakes his head, knowing Daniel has made a mistake, but Daniel remains stubborn. Years pass, and Daniel watches as less talented shoemakers succeed where he struggles. They market their work, build partnerships, and expand their businesses, while Daniel remains in his small workshop, working long hours but making little profit. He begins to wonder if he has been wrong all along but refuses to change his ways. His pride won't let him admit his mistake. Struggling to make ends meet, Daniel finally gives in and accepts a job at a shoe factory. He believes it will be temporary, just until he saves enough to reopen his business. At the factory, he quickly becomes the best shoemaker, earning respect from colleagues and praise from his bosses. However, he is merely an employee, not an owner. For the first time, Daniel questions his past choices, wondering if he has trapped himself in a cycle he cannot escape. At the factory, Daniel falls into a routine. His skills are unmatched, and he takes pride in his work, but something feels off. He watches as his employer, a man who cannot even craft a shoe himself, grows wealthier while Daniel earns a fixed salary. It dawns on him that skill alone is not enough. Knowledge of business, marketing, and finance is what truly builds success. One evening, Daniel's grandfather visits him. The old man is frail now, but his mind is sharp. He reminds Daniel of the businessman he once turned away. "You had a chance to be great," his grandfather says. "But you let pride and a poor mindset hold you back." Daniel listens in silence, realizing how many opportunities he has let slip away. Boss promotes him to head shoemaker, increasing his salary. His co-workers congratulate him, but deep down, he feels empty. He once dreamed of owning his own brand, not just climbing the ladder in someone else's factory. For the first time, he considers making a change. But does he still have time? Daniel runs into an old classmate, Toby, who was once an average shoemaker. However, Toby is now a successful business owner, with multiple shoe stores in different towns. Toby excitedly tells Daniel about his journey, how he learned marketing, built partnerships, and expanded beyond just making shoes. Daniel realizes that skill alone is not enough. It is ambition and strategy that create real success. The decision to try again with a heavy heart, Daniel decides he cannot remain an employee forever. He starts saving aggressively, cutting down on expenses and learning about business in his free time. But after years of working for others, does he still have the courage to step out on his own? Daniel seeks out an old shoemaking master in the city, hoping to learn what he missed. The mentor teaches him about branding, networking, and customer loyalty. With this new knowledge, Daniel feels a spark of hope. He begins crafting shoes on the side, selling them through social media, something he had once dismissed as unnecessary. After months of hard work, Daniel's handmade shoes gain attention online. Orders start coming in, and people love his work. He finally understands that talent alone is not enough. Presentation and outreach are just as important. With enough savings and growing confidence, Daniel decides to leave his factory job. He rents a small shop, determined to build the business he once dreamed of. Though the road ahead is uncertain, Daniel now understands that true success is a mix of skill, strategy, and the willingness to take risks. Daniel's journey had been full of setbacks, but he learned from his mistakes. He had wasted years thinking hard work was enough, but now he knew better. And as he opened the doors to his very own shoemaking brand, he smiled, knowing he was finally on the right path. Daniel quickly realizes that running a business is harder than he imagined. Established shoemakers try to push him out, and customers hesitate to trust a new brand. Determined, Daniel improves his marketing and uses his skills to craft unique designs that no one else offers. Sales are slow at first, and doubts creep into Daniel's mind. He questions whether he made the right decision. But remembering his past mistakes, he stays patient and continues working hard, believing his breakthrough is near. One day, a well-known fashion influencer buys Daniel's shoes and posts about them online. Overnight, his sales explode. People rush to his shop, eager to buy from the shoemaker everyone is talking about. As demand increases, Daniel struggles to keep up. Realizing he can't do everything alone, he hires a small team. It is difficult for him to trust others with his work, but he learns that delegation is necessary for growth. A local businessman offers to invest in Daniel's brand. This time, Daniel does not let pride hold him back. He carefully reviews the offer and negotiates a fair deal, ensuring he remains in control of his business. With new investments and rising demand, Daniel prepares to open a second store. His journey from a struggling shoemaker to a successful entrepreneur is finally taking shape, proving that the right mindset can change everything. Daniel decides to meet with Toby, hoping to learn from his success. Toby shares his journey, emphasizing how mentorship helped him grow. He introduces Daniel to a business consultant who gives him insights into financial management and business scaling. For the first time, Daniel realizes that success is not just about talent, but also about learning from those who have walked the path before. With guidance from his mentor, Daniel starts drafting a solid business plan. He outlines his goals, potential customers, and pricing strategies. He also learns the importance of branding and storytelling in business. This time, he is determined not to repeat his past mistakes. Starting a business requires money, and Daniel does not have enough savings. He considers taking a loan but hesitates due to fear of debt. Instead, he looks for investors and finds a local entrepreneur willing to partner with him. The entrepreneur is impressed by Daniel's craftsmanship and offers financial support in exchange for a share of the business. Daniel's dream shop finally opens. Unlike before, he no longer underprices his work. His marketing strategy attracts a crowd, and his new branding makes his products stand out. Customers begin to see his work as a luxury product rather than just another shoe. Just as things start looking up, a new competitor enters the market with cheaper shoes. Daniel worries that he might lose customers, but his mentor reminds him that quality and brand loyalty matter more than low prices. Instead of panicking, Daniel focuses on improving customer service and reinforcing his brand's uniqueness. The competition grows tougher, and Daniel faces new struggles. He must learn to adapt without compromising his values. He studies the market, introduces loyalty programs, and improves his branding. Daniel takes a risk by investing in social media advertising and collaborating with local influencers. The move pays off, bringing in new customers and expanding his reach beyond the town. With increased demand, Daniel hires and trains new apprentices, teaching them both shoemaking and business skills. He begins shaping the next generation of skilled entrepreneurs. The businessman Daniel once rejected returns, impressed by his growth. This time, Daniel is open to partnerships but ensures that he maintains control over his vision. Daniel reflects on his journey. He has finally broken free from his past limitations. Now, he is ready to take his business to even greater heights, proving that mindset shapes destiny. Daniel's business is growing steadily, but he soon faces a serious challenge. A famous international shoe brand announces the opening of a store in his town. The news spreads quickly, and Daniel fears that customers will flock to the brand's cheaper and widely recognized products. As opening day for the competitor approaches, Daniel becomes overwhelmed with self-doubt. He wonders if his business will survive. Toby reminds him that people value quality and authenticity. But will that be enough against a giant corporation? Daniel decides to emphasize what makes his shoes unique. He starts a campaign focusing on the artistry, craftsmanship, and cultural heritage behind his work. He tells his story to the community, connecting with customers on a deeper level. The competitor's store finally opens, and Daniel watches as people flood in. Sales at his shop drop dramatically. He considers lowering prices, but his mentor warns him against devaluing his brand. Instead of competing on price, Daniel offers customization services, allowing customers to design their own shoes. This move sets him apart from the mass-produced options of his rival. A local fashion influencer visits Daniel's shop and falls in love with his handmade shoes. She posts about them on social media, bringing in a wave of new customers. Suddenly, Daniel's shop is trending. Meanwhile, at the competitor's factory, customers start complaining about the poor durability of their shoes. Daniel's commitment to quality begins to shine in contrast. Despite the initial struggles, Daniel's business starts thriving again. Customers return, preferring his carefully crafted footwear over cheap, machine-made alternatives. With his success growing, Daniel dreams of expanding to new locations. He starts looking for partners who share his vision of quality and craftsmanship. Daniel reflects on his journey, the setbacks, the doubts, and the victories. He realizes that while skill opened the door, it was his shift in mindset that truly changed his fate. With a smile, he looks forward to the next chapter of his life, knowing he is no longer bound by his past mistakes. Just as Daniel is preparing to expand his business, a fire breaks out in his shop. The damage is devastating, and he is left with almost nothing. For the first time in years, he feels like giving up. Toby and other friends from the business community come together to help Daniel rebuild. They lend him materials, workspace, and financial aid, reminding him that he is not alone. With his friends' support, Daniel reopens his shop, but things are slow. Customers are hesitant, and he wonders if he will ever regain their trust. Daniel decides to use social media to promote his comeback. He shares his journey, showcasing before and after pictures of his shop and reminding people of his craftsmanship. A celebrity notices Daniel's work and places a custom order. The exposure skyrockets his business, bringing in a flood of new customers. Another talented shoemaker sets up shop nearby. Unlike the previous competitor, this one also emphasizes quality. Daniel realizes that competition is inevitable and must find ways to stand out. Daniel decides to take a big risk. He launches an exclusive luxury line of handmade shoes. The price is high, but so is the quality. Some doubt his decision, but he remains firm. Despite initial hesitation, customers begin appreciating the uniqueness of Daniel's work. His luxury brand gains recognition, and soon, orders come from outside his town. Daniel hires and trains apprentices, ensuring his knowledge is passed on. He teaches them not only shoemaking but also the business mindset he lacked in his early years. Standing in his new, expanded workshop, Daniel reflects on his journey. He once believed that skill alone was enough, but now he understands that ambition, financial literacy, and adaptability are just as important. With a smile, he steps forward, ready for the future. Daniel begins to reflect deeply on his past choices. He realizes that his belief that skill alone could lead to success was flawed. While he had mastered shoemaking, he had neglected financial wisdom, marketing strategies, and business expansion. Now, working under someone else, he understands that a shallow mindset about success leads to wasted potential. Determined to prevent others from making the same mistakes, Daniel visits a local trade school. He shares his story with young apprentices, warning them about the dangers of limiting their minds to just skill alone. Learn the craft, he says, but also learn how to grow and sustain it. His words begin to inspire the next generation of shoemakers. A major investor approaches Daniel with an opportunity to lead a new shoemaking enterprise. Though it is an attractive offer, Daniel hesitates. The position offers stability and wealth, but it is still not his own business. He wonders if he should take the safe route or finally build something for himself. Daniel spends sleepless nights debating his next move. His fear of failure is strong, but the thought of never realizing his dream is worse. For years, his mindset kept him stuck, but now, he has the chance to change everything. He decides to take the risk and open his own shoe company. Daniel uses all his savings and secures a loan to open his own shoemaking company. He starts with a small workshop, just like before, but this time, he approaches business differently. He invests in branding, hires a financial expert, and aggressively markets his products. Unlike his previous attempts, Daniel now sees rapid growth. Customers are drawn to his shoes not just for their quality but for their brand. His business begins expanding, and soon, he hires his first set of employees. As his business grows, Daniel occasionally feels afraid. What if he fails again? What if people stop buying? He realizes that doubt is a part of the journey, but he reminds himself that success is about persistence and constant learning. Remembering his struggles, Daniel creates a mentorship program for young shoemakers. He teaches them about both the craft and the business side of things, ensuring that they do not fall into the same traps he did. Years after struggling under an employer, Daniel finally sees his dream realized. His company thrives, and his name is known throughout the industry. He no longer works for a salary, he owns his destiny. At a large business conference, Daniel shares his journey. He emphasizes that a poor mindset can trap even the most talented people. He urges young people to detect and fight limiting beliefs early, ensuring they don't jeopardize their dreams. As he steps off the stage, he smiles, knowing his journey was worth it, not just for himself, but for the generations to come.